welcome to this special episode of the podcast in conjunction with the new Olympic Virtual Series. This is the first time that an event like this has happened, and we are very excited to be part of it. Now, by collaborating on the Olympic Virtual Series, the UCI and Zwift have joined forces with the IOC to deliver a unique virtual cycling experience based on mass participation and inclusion running throughout June this year. Now, joining forces with 5 virtual sports, the Olympic Virtual Series gives normal people unprecedented access to world-class Olympians and a chance to join in official mass participation events. Personally, I'm really looking forward to the series because the future of virtual sports is so bright. It's something that we saw during the last year where sports have been halted and we've all tried our hands at replicating them virtually. It's just amazing to see how far virtual cycling has progressed over the last year, with the first ever UCI Esports World Championships last December, and now an official collaboration between the UCI and the IOC with the Zwift for this series. And with the Tokyo Olympics on the horizon, we're excited to bring you multiple special episodes of the podcast with some of the greatest Olympians of all time, spanning most cycling disciplines, and they'll all be available in-game to ride along during the Olympic Virtual Series podcast ride. So I hope you're riding one right now, and if not, what are you waiting for? Get yourself signed up. Now, today, I'm joined by Olympic gold medalist and one of the greatest mountain bikers of all time, NINO SCHURTER. And during the Olympic Virtual Series, he's going to be leading rides that you can join, and he's created a special mountain bike workout so you can work out just like NINO. So make sure you pick up some of the hints and tips he dropped in our chat today to make your ride even smoother and to work out like a true Olympic champ. Now, let's dive into our chat with the man himself. Here's NINO. NINO, appreciate your time in joining the podcast. How are you keeping?
Yeah, no, I'm doing well.
Good, glad to hear it. Well, just to kick off, NINO, your palmarès and your achievements on a bike, let me just rattle the key ones off. Olympic champion, Rio 2016, Olympic silver medal in London 2012, an Olympic bronze medal in Beijing 2008, 8 Olympic world champion titles, a European champion title, 7 overall World Cup winners, and 32 World Cup victories. Now, I'm sure, NINO, you've heard that list read out to you countless times. Does it hit home what you achieved and what you are still achieving on a bike? So you hear sometimes ex-pros say it's only when they retire that they kind of realise what they achieved in the sport. Where are you with them?
Yeah, so far for me as well, I'm more looking into the future and not really looking backwards what I achieved. But I could imagine when I retire one day it's getting more important, or I like to watch back more to realize actually what I achieved in the sport. But so far I still focused on the upcoming events and like the goals I still have. I'm not at the point where I like to look back.
Yeah, that's amazing. I guess the characteristics of sporting greats, that you don't sit on your laurels and just kind of sit back. But do you take time to celebrate when you win a World Cup? Do you celebrate that, or do you?
For sure, I think
crack on training. Yeah.
For sure, it always depends a bit if just the World Cup is coming next week up, or if you have a bit of time. But I think it's also important to sometimes to celebrate, or to let all those emotions, or like when you coming into an important race, like you are like mentally it uses you a lot, and like if you have that release and you were successful, I think then you also need to celebrate and to enjoy this moment. And also if it's during the season and still important races are coming up, still that you to take at least a short time to enjoy it and to celebrate as long as you can, because it's also like just a short time, like when you look back maybe once after your career, hopefully also can say you also enjoyed those victories and you were able to also to celebrate them, and you not just saw always the upcoming event. Or I think it's as important as the result.
So NINO has very kindly helped develop a mountain bike specific workout as part of the Olympic Virtual Series that anyone will be able to try out. So before you go and take on NINO's workout, let's just get a little more information about what mountain bike racing is and the type of efforts involved.
Yeah, like cross country is like is a mass start, all out race, 1.5 hours, or now they got it shorter and shorter. It's about 1 hour 20. When the gun goes off, you go full gas, because it's really important to have, like in a single trail, it's hard to overtake, so you need to be at the front from the beginning and battle to the end. And our courses are getting more and more technical, like they are really demanding. So we have now as well jumps, technical descents, but really tough uphills. Like it's an up and down, left, right. So I think it combines almost everything what you can do on a mountain bike. So endurance, power, but also the technical parts, downhill. So I think as a mountain biker, you need to be quite a complete cyclist. Like you need to have the endurance like a road rider. You need to have the technical skills like a downhill rider, and you need to be able to combine that and then be successful over 1.5 hours.
You just mentioned there, NINO, the races are getting slightly shorter, from like 1.5 hours, maybe down to 1 hour and 20. Is that a good thing? And I ask it in I guess the context of road cycling. You know, the races are so long, and people are kind of saying it's a bit boring at times, and shorter racing might be better for spectators. Well, what's your view on the mountain bike? I guess there's not a huge difference between 1 hour and 20 and 1 hour 30, but shorter better, or?
Yeah, we saw a nice development in our sport the past years. Like we have, I think now a really attractive format. Like it's also like on a World Cup weekend. It's not just a cross country race. We have like on Friday it's a short race where it's just a 20-minute race with a much shorter track where mostly it's going to end up in a sprint. That's going to be the starting position for Sunday. And then the Sunday is it's a cross-country race over this 1.5 or 120 race distance. Now as well, the courses got a bit shorter, so more attractive for the spectators that are there, but also easier to produce for a TV production. And I think the shorter makes it now more attractive. What we saw in the past is like after an hour, it's like it's not that much happening anymore. It's actually nicer to keep it shorter, and then maybe going to see a sprint finish or really see those battles to the finish line. And like with the more attractive courses, like with that shorter distance, I think we have now a really great format that you can where you enjoy to watch in the TV, but also enjoy to watch when you are live there. That when you do one lap, you can see us several times, and I think that makes it quite attractive.
And you're wearing lycra. Do you wear a skin suit or shorts and jersey when you race?
I always wear the shorts and jersey, but we wear as well really aerodynamic. I'm not such a fan of skin suits, but that's also the shorts and my bibs are really aerodynamic. So it's also part of our racing. You need to be aerodynamic, especially like in those short races. You also are racing on high speed, so it's like on the road. It's going to be important how aerodynamic you are.
Yeah, and your strengths, NINO, would I be right in saying your strengths is kind of your technical ability, your descending? Is that one of your key strengths?
Yeah, I would say it's one of my key strengths. The technical aspects. I enjoy to ride technical trails, and I think it's one part. I'm not too bad.
body shape and type for cross-country mountain biking? What's the optimum, or what's kind of the typical body shape and type, weight and things like that?
You need to be like a powerful rider, so it's not like as lighter as better. We don't have climbs of half an hour where you see sometimes on the road. Our climbs are mostly between 20 seconds up to maybe the longest climb in the World Cup is maybe 5 minutes. So you need to be powerful. So you need to have a bit of muscles as well. But you also can't be too heavy. So I think most riders are somewhere between 63 to 75 kilos, and I think so, yeah. But you see also there are taller riders, like Jaroslav Kolavi was probably one of the tallest, really successful. I think I don't know how tall he is, but he's probably one head taller than I, and I'm 173 centimeters, so I think there are many different riders or shapes of riders, but you need to somewhere be, if you are too tall or too short, it's probably not going to be as good, and you need to be somewhere not too light, but also not too heavy.
Sure. So it's very much kind of, you can't really have a weak point in cross-country mountain biking, I guess. If you're on the road, if you're not very good at, time trialing, you don't perform in time trials, but you can do really well in sprint events maybe, or if you're a climber. With mountain biking, you need to be good at all aspects.
Yeah, I think you need to be really complete. It's like mountain bike races are much more always a bit the same. Like we don't see like races just for climbers or just for sprinters.
Sure.
Or it's like a mountain bike. You need to be able to climb. You need to be able to be powerful, to push up a steep uphill. You need to be able to sprint. You actually need to be really complete, and you also need to be, as a rider, you need to really want to be also the one that can win the race. Like there's no space for actually, like on the road you see more like there's more space for riders that supporting others, and in the mountain bike there is no support. You actually need to be the one that is going to try to win the race, and for that you need to be complete to be successful and to somehow make new way as a mountain bike professional.
How much teamwork goes on in mountain biking? Because in the road it's massive. What about mountain biking?
Yeah, it's a big teamwork. Or before the race, like we are organized as a team. It's important to have a great team to actually developing your equipment, to have best support for traveling. For that you need to be a strong team, also in training, that you have good training bodies to push each other. In the race it's much less than on the road. There's never as much room to actually play tactic games or helping each other. Sometimes there are situations where you can help each other, like if you are really two strong riders, but mostly it's like it's going to end up that just 2-3 riders are going to battle for the win, and if you are lucky that you are maybe 2 team riders and still at the front, then for sure you can help each other. I remember once there was World Championships a while ago in 2009 in Canberra. I was in the lead with Julia Upsalo, and my teammate Florian Vogel was in the chasing group with Jose Antonio Almeida from Spain, and we both were actually able to say, we are not going to lead, so we could play a bit this team game. So, and we both actually took an advantage of the situation. But those situations are quite rare, and but still, you need to have a strong team as before and after the race to be successful.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I'm just thinking about on the bike, on a mountain bike course, the way you describe the course is, if you're going up a really steep hill, there's not much benefit of being on a wheel. You're trying to pick your own line, and on the technical descents, again, you want open trail. So the idea of sitting on someone and not contributing only really works on those fast sections, which sound like they're few and far between.
Yeah, it always depends a bit on the course. There are courses for sure where you can have bigger benefit of drafting. There are tracks sometimes you better ride at the front because there's so many corners, so many technical bits. You don't want to always getting to 2 meters again, try to close. It's almost harder to ride than in third position. It's then already you always lose 5 meters, then you try to close. So some races I decide from the beginning I want to actually do a hard race, try to go all out from the front because there's no benefit of drafting. And there are other races where you actually, if you do that, you're probably not going to be successful, where you also need to hide you much more, or where you then try a bit more the tactical games.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, and a bit of single track. If you're caught behind someone and they have an issue or crash,
that's can hold you up. But that's also part of the game. And mountain bike, sometimes you just need to be careful, or always make sure you are not going to be behind someone where maybe there's a rider that is technically not so well, and you have a fast descender at the front, and you don't want to actually let him go just because you have one in between. So that makes the race sometimes also a bit, you just need to be careful. You are always at the right position, and also there you can easily win or lose a race if you are at the right moment at the front, and you're using your skills where you are actually good, and
yeah, awesome. And before we get talking about the Olympic Games, have you managed to, let's talk about this year, 2021, have you managed to race yet?
Yeah, I raced 2 races already, preparation races, 2 in Italy and 1 in Austria. They went quite well. I got 3 times second. Quite happy with the shape and preparation. Still not there where I want to be. I was mentally always a bit for small races. I sometimes struggle now a bit to really motivate me to suffer till the end. But now the World Cups are coming up. This weekend we have in Albstadt the first World Cup, and just followed with the World Cup in Czech Republic. So that's going to be the first ones where all the riders are around, and where you can first really see where everybody's standing.
See what everyone's been doing in lockdown 2020. Who's been training?
Exactly.
Who hasn't? You say about these preparation races, do you kind of train through them, or do you rest going into them just like you would a bigger race?
Yeah, I don't like too much going full in training into the races. I also want to gain a good feeling or confidence out of the races. And if you go too tired in a race, like in a mountain bike race, you're probably not going to do very well. You need to be fresh to do it. For sure, I'm not preparing them the same as I do a World Cup race. I take a bit less time to recover before, but still I want to try to do well on those races, to actually to get as well a good feeling and get confidence out of those races.
Moving forward then, let's talk Olympics and the Olympic Games. I think it was your first Olympics. Was Beijing your first?
2008.
Yeah. So, straight in, first Olympics, come away with a medal. Brilliant. No, you were a young rider then. You must have been...
I was over the moon,
yeah, I bet you were, yeah. So what was going on in your life at that point in time? Where were you at with your career and training in 2008?
Yeah, it was qualification for the Olympics was already quite special. I was still racing on the 23. And we we Swiss, we had just 3 spots, but we are still a really strong nation. So qualification was really tough, and I actually was like, World Cups, I was competing with the elite category, and there had some good results. I was mostly like 3rd best Swiss, but then World Championships were just before Olympics, and it was the last qualification race for Beijing, and I won the under-23 race, but in the elite, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd was also Swiss. So we were like, those World Championships were probably one of the most successful for Switzerland. And then it was like, okay, in the World Cups, I was always the 3rd strongest, but now we have World Championships with just the elite riding. There are 3 riders on the podium. So then they had to decide: are we going to take me as a young rider on the 23 world champion, or are we going to take the 3 elite riders that did 1st, 2nd, and 3rd? And I luckily made the last spot, the 3rd spot, and. Yeah, I was like, then Beijing, I was just like, I had not really big expectation. I was more, everybody told me, yeah, for you it's going to be to get some, to learn a lot, 4 years later it's going to be important for you, and it's more to learn a lot from the games. Yeah. And I was able to actually ride without any pressure, and in the end I was able to battle for the 3rd medal, and it was actually awesome. It's actually the best if you don't have too much expectation, and you can actually reach much more what everybody or yourself actually expects.
Did you say you had a very strong Swiss team going in, and wasn't it one of your teammates you were battling with for that bronze medal, coming into for a sprint together?
Yeah, last lap I was battling with Christoph Sauser. He was actually the elite world champion from this year, and going into the last lap it was just us 2, no other rider involved anymore, and then I knew now it's just about the bronze medal. It's a battle between us 2, and it was a track that suited me quite well, with a lot of short punchy uphills, was the lucky one walking away with the bronze medal.
Amazing. I mean, and we talked about celebrating a little bit earlier in the podcast. How did you celebrate that bronze medal? I mean, come out of nowhere. Weren't expecting it. You must have been celebrating for weeks.
Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, it was like on the sad thing was the last day of the Olympic Games, and most other athletes were just about packing up, or they celebrated already for a few days because they had the competition already. So we had to wait until the last day of the games, and then actually when we had our competition, we had to rush to get to the closing ceremony, and soon after everything was over. So that was a bit sad thing that we had at the last day, but then back home, for sure, it's like amazing if you can achieve something like this. When I got home from China, we had a big welcome party back home, and also then at the end of the season, I'm always using, when I had a big victory in the year, I'm doing a party with friends and partners somewhere up in the mountains where we ride today, and in the evening we celebrate the season, and we also did that this year in 2018. Awesome.
So from then, I guess you landed now. You're kind of on the elite stage. You are, hit the big time, you might say. How did that change going forward? Your approach to races. Did you suddenly feel more pressure then? So the 2009 season, was there pressure on you?
For sure, success generates also pressure. You expect more from yourself, but also from outside you're getting more expectations. Now people are expecting from you that you are that you are going to achieve similar results again. And I think, yeah, from there on, I always like, can I top the previous season? But yeah, I was actually for almost 10 years, I was almost able always to top it a little bit again, and to win more races. And now I'm going after records like beating Shuyi Absalo in World Cup victories. It's still nice to try to win races and somehow beat some records, but for sure it's not getting easier. And I'm also not getting younger.
You still got that fire in your belly, it sounds, which obviously, if you've still got that, you can still compete. I mean, you got the. Do you think the kind of the technical skill aspect? Will you lose any of that? Will you become, as with age, do people become less sharp, or is it more kind of the the physical strength side of things that starts to go as riders get older?
Yeah, I'm probably lucky that the technical thing was always like something or a strength of myself. That's And if the technical thing is already a weakness of you, and then with getting older, it's for sure not getting easier, because young riders, you see like there's a lot of young riders. They learn now different to ride a bike. There's so many bike parks and great stuff to actually early to learn the technical skills. And I think we're going to see a generation of cyclists now that are even much better in the technical aspects. I think there I was lucky. It was always a strength of myself. But for sure, like those peak powers, you're probably going to lose a little bit with the year, like sprinting, like really those peak powers. On the other side, you can probably develop, like your endurance over longer distance. You probably can still, I would say, late 30s. You can still like gain them and get better. So as in general, if you still can somehow your profile keep up with the young ones, and I think so far I'm still competitive with the young ones, but for sure everything needs to go perfect, and everything needs to go well in training and preparation. And as long as I manage this, I think I still can keep up with now riders. They're almost some of them are 10 years younger than myself.
A lot of people start using virtual cycling when they become parents because they have new responsibilities. And I reckon a lot of people who take part in the Olympic Virtual Series events will be in the same boat. Nino, have you changed since you become a dad? Since mountain biking at your caliber can be pretty dangerous, how has your mindset shifted since becoming a father?
Yeah, for sure it changed a little bit. Also, like with not just being like a father and having more, it's also like with the success I had now, it's not, for me, sometimes it's not as important anymore to go all in, to risk everything, to battle. Sometimes I don't feel I have to do that, but sometimes in bigger races I still feel that, and I think that's when I'm my best, when I really go all in. But I can't do that on all races anymore. That's what I'm going to feel now as a person, that I'm not able to go on every race, especially if it's a smaller race. I'm not risking my life. A bit more selective.
That makes complete sense. Back to the Olympics then, Nino, and stepping on to London 2012. You won silver behind Yaroslav, where I think in 2008 you were a couple of minutes behind the win. This was nip and tuck, wasn't it, for the win in 2012? It was a sprint finish?
Yeah, that was a hard moment at the beginning. I was like, went into this race as one of the favorites. I had great success before. I won a few World Cup races coming into the Olympics, and I felt actually great. and also the race in London went actually everything according to plan. I was battling with Jaroslav to the finish, and I overtook him just before the finish, and I was actually leading, and probably the second last corner I just left the door a bit too much open, and he overtook me, and he won by I think 20 centimeters in front of me. So that was big disappointment for me. That moment, I was like, I was so close, and I actually with a bit more aggressive move in the last corner, I probably would be able to win the race. But now, with looking back, I think it was actually, for my career, it was actually good. It happened. I knew there I was, for the next 4 years, I was on fire really to try it again in Rio and give everything and make sure every detail is perfect coming into Rio. And also, like, as a development as an athlete, I think was quite good. I not just won there. It's sometimes if you achieved too quick or the success, you're losing attraction or hunger.
Yeah.
I was, now looking back, I think it was actually good. I got second there.
Oh, good. And but in your, again, around 2012, you had a lot of success. You were in a very different position to what you were in 2008. Even though you've got another Olympic medal, you probably, again, I'm presuming you left London not as ecstatic as you left Beijing.
For sure, no. Like, as I said, Beijing, I was over the moon. Nobody expected from me for anything. I was just there to learn, to get some experience. And in London, I went into as a favorite. There were a lot of expectations of myself, but also from Swiss media. I was like, that's going to be a medal. Maybe it's going for sure to be a gold medal. And then I got second, and it was for myself a big disappointment, but also like, for a lot of people around me, it was a disappointment. And that's even if you got second at the Olympics, it's actually a huge achievement. But if you're going into a race with a goal to win and you got second, it's at the first moment it's a disappointment.
Yeah, tough one. But then 4 years later, Rio, you're going in. I'm presuming you have one objective going into the Olympics in 2016.
Yeah, I just did one goal. I wanted to win. I didn't want to get second or third or whatever. I went into this race with just one goal, and that's winning. But for sure not making it easier in terms of pressure then everything went actually perfect. I had a perfect race. Preparation went well, and I was able to perform as I liked, and I won, and was insane. Like, if you achieve like something you are working for many years, and then in the end you can actually achieve it, and was awesome.
Olympic champ, yeah, epic. And one of the big talking points around the Rio mountain bike event was, Peter Sagan transferring from the road. A lot of hype around it. Yet, physically world class. Technically, he seems to be a very good bike handler. But he had 2 punctures. Is that down to? What's your take on him having those 2 punctures? Is that part of? The lack of mountain biking specific experience, or his team, or luck, bad luck, or what was that?
Yeah, Peter is for sure an incredible cyclist, and he used to be a mountain biker, so he was, I think, on the 23 world champion or junior champion. I'm not sure, but for sure he was also a world-class mountain biker before he moved to the road completely. So he definitely has the skills to win mountain bike races, but I think he didn't took enough time really to prepare himself for this race. He never took part in a bigger race before the game. It's like, it's not just about the technical riding or riding on a bike that you can use, but like what kind of tires you're going to use, what setting on your bike are you going to use. It's like, that needs a lot of preparation, and if you are not racing before, you're probably not be able to make the right decisions. What equipment are you going to use? How are you going to approach the race? And I think he didn't took enough time, or he didn't had enough time to really prepare also that before. And that's why he ended up with two flats, not riding maybe the right lines, maybe having too light tires on, maybe not having the right setting on the bike. That's all part of the game. That also needs a lot of work. It's not just if you have a big engine you can win a race. You still need to make all the decisions as well, right?
Yeah, sure. And talking about punctures and mechanicals, if you have a puncture in a mechanical, you're on your own to fix them, right?
Yeah, there are tech zones where you can actually get some help, but you need to get to those tech zones. There's mostly 2 tech zones per loop. So when you're lucky, you don't have to go too far where you can change wheels, or if it's something worse, you can change. But mostly, yeah, you can still win a race with a flat. But it's getting harder and harder. So actually, the goal is not to have any mechanicals. Most of the flat tires, you also need to say it was probably the wrong decision of tire choice, or the wrong line choice, or you maybe got tire and you could hit the rock you shouldn't. So mostly the mechanical is the fault of the riders. There's just a few little mechanicals that you can't actually do or it's actually not the fault of a rider.
This is so true. I mean, my little group of friends, we go out, it's always the same couple of riders who are always breaking bikes and not having mechanicals.
It's also like shifting and stuff. Like if you shift nicely, you don't shift at the wrong points. Also then your drivetrain is so much safer. If you ride smooth lines, you're probably not going to puncture. It's like mostly it's a fall because you're getting tired. You are like on your limits, and then like faults are going to happen, or mistakes.
Yeah, sure. But do you carry, I know there's these tech zones then, but do you carry kit to repair puncture?
No.
Tubes or no?
No.
So literally one plan, puncture, keep going.
Yeah, there's like, since we have those tech zones, it doesn't make sense to fix anything. You just ride until the tech zone. If you have just I had some punctures, when the air goes slowly out, you can still reach the tech zone. We also practice that the mechanics are really quick. Like my mechanic can change in 18 seconds a back wheel, and in 10 seconds the front wheel. So if you feel you have a puncture and you made it to the tech zone, you're going to lose maximum 20 seconds and you're still in the race. So I won World Cups with punctures. It's just, you need to have a bit of luck and everything goes well, and you still can battle for victory.
Wow, 18 seconds, that's sounds pretty quick.
It's quick for a back wheel. Imagine there's the drivetrain, you need to get the chain right, the axle out, back wheel in, but he did it in races in 18 seconds, and like in practice he's pretty easy, even faster. He can make it in, I think the fastest he did one was 12 seconds for a back wheel. That's super fast.
Wow. Wow, yeah. So must do a lot of practice. But you've got a very solid team around you. You mentioned your mechanic, your team. You're surrounded by the same people for a long time. I guess you've got a winning formula. Why change it?
Yeah, why to change? Yeah, I'm with my coach. I'm since 2000, I think, together. So we know each other quite well, and he knows me quite well what I need. So it's now 21 years he's coaching me. My mechanic is since now almost I think 14 years we're working together. So I don't see to change anything as long as everything works. And I was lucky to meet actually the right persons from the beginning, and I was lucky to get in a really professional team from the beginning. Like the team was first built around Thomas Frischknecht, and he had already one of the best team around him, and I was able to actually to take over that, and he's now managing the team that makes also a perfect solution. Like he knows exactly what you need as an athlete, and he's the best possible team manager. And with him and with a coach working along together, with a mechanic working along together, it makes everything just much easier, and we know exactly what everybody needs to do.
Yeah, and you mentioned you've been with your coach for 21 years, with Nicholas for 21 years. A lot's changed in 21 years in terms of everyone uses a power meter now, for example. How has your relationship, I guess your approach to training, changed throughout your career with Nicholas?
Yeah, for sure, like the power meter changed a little bit, like how you do intervals now. But Nicola, I think he was one of the first ones that really saw what mountain bike is as a sport. Like at the beginning, most of the riders, they just trained like road riders, like a lot on their endurance. But mountain bike is actually so different than a road race. It's much shorter. You need to be more powerful. You need to have more power also in your upper body. Like if you're standing that much in steep uphills, you need to be able to push up those uphills, and you need to have a lot of core power. It's quite different, and he was one of the first that really saw that. And I changed, like at the beginning I was training completely different than others. Like when I joined as an under-23 rider, the national team and all my team buddies, they were like training completely different, and I was always like doing a lot of gym work, doing a lot of coordination, balance stuff next to the riding, and we still keep going like this. And now a lot of others are doing similar what I'm doing now, more in the gym, more force, more coordination stuff, what you all need on the mountain bike. But for sure, like the power meter stuff, like how you do intervals now, that changed quite a bit. Before we did all by heart rate, what you know today, that's mostly you're going at the beginning way too fast, and towards the end you're getting slower and slower. And with the power meters you can pace you much more accurate. But sometimes I feel sometimes a bit feeling some riders or younger riders that didn't have that anymore. They're just going off the numbers and numbers and numbers, and they don't have a feeling anymore. Like and sometimes it's still good if you ride after your feeling, because in the race, in a mountain bike race, you can't ride after any numbers or pacing yourself. It's a mountain bike race. It's all out. Sometimes you need to go completely in your red zone, and so I think it has for sure a lot of benefits, but it also has some dangerous points.
It also reminds me of the start of a virtual cycling race, when it's straight out of the pens, very fast, furious, hard effort, and then it eases up a little bit as the bunch takes shape. But you still have to be technically on it to stay in that group. So managing, being super fit and getting your heart rate down, important attributes.
I think that's one of the key factors of mountain biking, how quick you can actually recover. It's like, you need to go full gas up and uphill, some 20 seconds, it's almost peak power. Then you have a descent of 15 seconds where it's technical, difficult, and you still need to be able to recover bring your heart rate a little bit down. And I think a good mountain biker is actually, he has this ability to actually, that you can recover well. It's like, you never have like, a climb where you can slowly go in and then like pace yourself. And that's like this ability to recover during the race, just if it's 5 seconds, 10 seconds, sometimes 30 seconds. If you have that you can in this short time, that you, even if it's a technical descent, bring your heart rate a little bit down, you're going to be a good mountain biker. If you don't have that, it's going to be difficult.
Now, virtual cycling is part of the Olympic Virtual Series, and there will be opportunities for people to train and compete. But I bet everyone taking part will want to know, Nino, how do you use virtual cycling for training?
Yeah, Zwift is great, like especially if you live somewhere where you sometimes you have not so nice weather. It's like now you actually with Zwift you don't have an excuse to not doing a session. Like you, even if it's snowing outside, you can do your rides inside, and it still makes fun. And I'm using Zwift a lot in winter or when weather is bad and I don't feel to go out. And sometimes I do intervals on it. Sometimes I do recovery rides on it. Sometimes I do longer rides. So it's actually a great addition to your training outdoor, and it's great, especially also if you're not a professional, be able to ride in the evenings or in countries where maybe security is not good enough. I think it's a really great tool to stay fit and enjoying riding the bike.
Have you ever done a Zwift race?
Yeah, I did some Zwift race. That's super tough.
Ridiculous, isn't it? And I think because a lot of the highest end Zwift races are similar distance to a cross-country mountain bike race, like just over an hour 15. Probably, I think a cross-country mountain bike would probably lends himself well to being a good Zwift racer. But it is hard.
Yeah, it is hard, yeah. But you don't have that much that we just talked before, like this ability to recover fast. A mountain bike is much more like peaks, recovery, and on Zwift it's more like a steady going. It's like more like a time trial, I would say. It doesn't make sense to make big attacks and then to rest a little bit, make big attacks. You're going to be slower, like on a Zwift race, because you don't have this technical aspects or the descents. You don't have that much on Zwift. So I think the best Zwift riders are probably the time trial riders from the road, I would say.
Technological advancements, Nino. I've got kind of two more questions from you. What are your thoughts on e-bikes, and has that changed over time?
I think e-bikes is a nice addition to the cycling family. It's like it's just something different. It's not that it replaces something else. It's just like I use an e-bike a lot if I go riding with my daughter. Like if I need to pull her up the hill, like after my training ride, and I'm already a bit tired, but I still want to have like fun with my daughter and go for a ride. I take the e-bike and I can pull her up, or sometimes also with a trailer. It's like just it's much easier, but I'm doing it with an e-bike. If I wouldn't have an e-bike, I wouldn't do it. So I think it's actually nice to have it to then also have this quality time. Or I see like my neighbors, they will out and cycling is too hard for them, but now they're riding e-bikes. So that our family as cyclists just got much bigger, because a lot of people now have also like the possibility to actually enjoy this sport. That is a really tough sport, you must say. For some people it's just too hard. And then I also enjoy to like ride really technical stuff uphill, like with having this extra power. Now some of a sudden be able to ride a single trail where I normally just go downhill. Now I ride uphill, and it's it's a technically uphill section, and it makes quite fun. It's almost like riding a motorbike up a hill, and it's fun. So I think it's a great addition to the cycling family as a new bicycle. What I'm so far not such a big fan is about racing e-bikes. I think there it's like a bit. I don't really see sometimes you're not sure if it's really a fair game between all the riders, or but maybe that's going to change. They maybe not found the right format so far, but in general I think an e-bike is great for a lot of people, and I also enjoy to ride my e-bike sometimes, yeah.
So the Olympic Virtual Series is showcasing some of the game-changing new technology that has enabled the rise of virtual sport. And I know, Nino, you're really into the technological side of cycling. So what is your favourite piece of technology or favourite development that you've seen in the sport that's changed throughout your career?
Yeah, drivetrain is for sure one. Like when I started, we had 3 times 7, I think I started. Now 1x12, it's shifting got so much easier over those in my career, like those 20 years now. It changed a lot, and now you can actually shift on the full pressure and it works, and I think that's almost one of the biggest development, or what I'm seeing now with having electronic wireless shifting. Every shift feels the same, and we rarely see any chain brakes. That's for sure one. And the other, I would say, wheel sizes and the tires, like having bigger wheels, and with that also more volume. Like when I started racing, I used 1.9er tires, and now I'm riding on 2.4 in a cross-country race. Like having that more volume actually gives you such more comfort, more grip, and also better rolling resistance. So like for descending, I would say tire, or not just for descending. I would say tires is the biggest thing.
Wow.
Tires, drivetrain, then also a dropper post. Then
loads.
Wider handlebars, suspension. When I started, the forks and shocks, they were more to be there and to looking good, but now they actually work. And you could mention a lot of different things on the bike. And you always think now we reached the top, we can't get better anymore, but there's just the next thing coming around the corner. It makes riding even more fun.
Yeah, exactly. Where's your favourite place to ride?
Yeah, where I live, Graubünden has. It's actually really cool to see the mountain bike sport is now really also an important touristic thing. All the ski regions, Lenzerheide, in winter there are ski regions, but now in summer, mountain biking is a big thing for them, and they develop a lot of nice parks, but there's also a lot of nice natural trails through the Alps. I think it's almost like mountain bike heaven here, and I'm lucky to live here. But there are also other places I really enjoy to ride. I'm going often to South Africa. I really enjoy to ride there. There's Tuscany also has great riding, and I think to be able to ride always a bit on different places makes it even nicer.
Magic. Well, Nino, we'll wrap it up there, but thanks for your time. Been great chatting to you, and we haven't even touched upon the Olympics this year at Tokyo. Good luck. We're keeping an eye out for you.
Thank you. It was nice to chat with you.
Now, that was a hugely insightful chat with Nino, I hope you'd agree, and if that didn't make you want to jump on a mountain bike and find a trail, then I don't know what will. He's a champion of the sport and such an inspiration. If you've been riding along during this pod, I hope you've had an awesome ride, and if this has got you in the mood to ride, then we have lots on offer on Zwift as part of the Olympic Virtual Series. We have podcast rides, group workouts, 24 hours of group rides, and the awesome-looking Chase race. There's so much to get involved in throughout the month of June, so fill your boots. This is an opportunity like no other. And it's not just cycling that's taking part, there's also baseball, rowing, sailing, and motorsports. If you want to try your hand at a different sport, there's never been a better time to try them out. Now that's all from me today, but we'll be back very soon with more amazing Olympian interviews. I don't want to give too much away, but between all our guests, they have 26 gold medals and a whole host of silver and bronze medals. See if you can guess who they might be, but in the meantime, have fun taking part in all of the events on offer. Ride on.